My name is Carmen Carter, and today I'll be talking to you about the importance of vaccines. I have a friend who is against vaccines. The reason, I'm unsure. She has 3 children, and not a single one of them are vaccinated. Her oldest child is 8 years old, and her youngest is 3 months old. So far, they've lived a healthy life. She also has a dog. This dog goes to the vet yearly for a checkup and gets vaccinated. I asked her, "Why do you vaccinate your dog, but you don't vaccinate your children?" She stared at me with a blank face as if she didn't know how to answer the question. It was almost like a light bulb went on in her head. In today's world, there's so much controversy over whether to vaccinate your children or not, and I believe the media and internet play a big role in this. People are just not educated as to why vaccines do good. I myself was vaccinated as a child and get the flu shot annually. I am rarely sick and believe vaccinations are the cause of that. Today we're going to discuss the misconceptions that people make about vaccines, where they come from and how they started, how they work in your body, and most importantly, why people should vaccinate against illness. Many people are against vaccinations today because many misconceptions about them. One reason is people believe that vaccines actually cause more harm than they do good. One of these misconceptions is the flu vaccine causes the flu illness, and another misconception is that vaccines cause autism. According to the Immunization Action Coalition, one of the vaccines claimed to cause autism is the MMR vaccine. Many research studies have actually found there is no true link with vaccine causing autism. In an article written by the Immunization Action Coalition, the rumor of the MMR vaccine causing autism arose over a decade ago when a British physician announced that he found a virus from the measles lingering in the intestines of 12 autistic children. Other researchers were never able to replicate this, which led to his conclusions of being erroneous. Later, a press investigation revealed that the doctor falsified patient data and relied on laboratory reports that he had been warned were incorrect. Researchers used functional MRI scans to study the connections of nerve cells within the brains of autistic individuals. These scans show that in very young infants and toddlers, abnormal connections in the areas of the brain that control language, social, and emotional processes, suggesting these abnormalities contribute to the development of autism. It is known with great certainty, according to the Immunization Action Coalition, that genetics play a major role in whether a child will be autistic or not. Another misconception is about the flu vaccine causing the flu in people, so they no longer get the flu vaccine because they do not want to get sick. According to the CDC, the flu vaccine cannot cause illness. Flu vaccines are made in 2 ways. One way is with the flu virus that is inactivated and therefore not infectious, and the other way is with the no flu virus at all. The most common side effects that you should receive from a flu vaccine is a low-grade fever, muscle aches, and soreness and redness where the injection site was given. So, if this is the case, why do people insist they're getting sick from the flu vaccine? Well, the flu vaccine only protects against influenza. Some explanations as to why people continue to get sick is maybe they just have a common cold, which presents with a lot of the similar symptoms as the flu. Someone may have come in contact with the flu before the 2-week period of immunity from the flu vaccine. The person may have a different strain of influenza that the vaccine does not protect against, and the flu vaccine works differently from person to person. Now that we understand some problems that people have with vaccines, let's talk about where they came from. More than 200 years ago, there was a man named Edward Jenner. He started noticing that dairy maids were protected by smallpox if they had already been infected with a much less dangerous virus called cowpox. In 1976, Edward Jenner conducted an experiment scratching the arm of an 8-year-old boy using material from the cowpox sore in one of his dairy maids. He then repeated the same experiment and this time used a sample of smallpox virus in hopes that the procedure would immunize the child. It did, and this began the age of immunizations. Vaccines contain the same genes that cause disease. For example, the measles vaccine contains the measles virus. A vaccine stimulates your immune system to produce antibodies, exactly like it would if you were exposed to the disease. After receiving a vaccine, you develop immunity to that disease, and your body, when it comes in contact with that disease, will recognize it and fight it off before you presume symptoms of it. Vaccine has side effects, just like any medication has side effects. Sometimes after getting a vaccine, you'll have fever, low-grade fever, redness at the injection site. Serious side effects like anaphylactic shock are very rare. The mild side effects of a vaccine are incredibly less serious as if you were to actually contract a vaccine-preventable disease, which can easily lead to death. Here is a thought for those who are against vaccines. You have a child who contracts a vaccine-preventable disease. Your child has to go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes you a medication. Are you going to give your child the medication, or are you not going to? Because that medication has side effects as well. Every medication and vaccine contains side effects, but typically the benefits outweigh the risk. So, vaccines come in many different forms. They'll come in vials, which the nurse will draw up and administer. Some come in a dropper that you administer orally, and some are intranasally. This is the flu mist, for example, is a vaccine for influenza. The CDC is a very great website. It contains schedules of vaccines. This is from birth to 6 years old. As you can see, there are a lot of vaccines on here that you're going to get when you're young. Some of them you're going to get just one shot, but it'll contain multiple. And then on the back, it also has the diseases, how it's spread, some symptoms that you'll experience if you contract any of these diseases. So the CDC is a really good website to look at if you have any questions or anything about vaccines. So last, let's discuss why everyone should vaccinate against illness. Vaccines help save lives and money. Vaccines not only protect your children, but your grandchildren and their grandchildren. According to the National Foundation of Infectious Diseases, each year approximately 50,000 people die from a vaccine-preventable disease. So here's the big question: why should we vaccinate? For starters, the flu can be very harmful and a serious disease among young children, older adults, and people with certain chronic illnesses. Getting an annual influenza vaccine can help keep the optimal protection needed against contracting flu. Second, vaccinations can mean the difference between life and death. Many diseases are becoming rare due to vaccines. Some of these diseases are polio, diphtheria, and smallpox. Children no longer get the smallpox vaccine because the disease no longer exists. They quit immunizing children against smallpox in 1991. If we quit immunizing against these diseases, even if there are a few cases left in the world, they will quickly spread and all the work from immunizing will be undone. Here's an analogy to help understand this process. It is a lot like bailing out a boat with a small leak. When you first start bailing, the boat is full of water. You have been bailing really fast and hard and the boat is now dry. And you think, I can just throw the bucket away and sit and relax now. But the leak is not finished. It's still leaking. So pretty soon, the boat's going to be back full of water as if it were before. The more we vaccinate, the more we can keep these deadly diseases away. If we stop now, we're going to see a rise in diseases that are becoming very rare. I believe there are measles diseases that are coming back that we're seeing in the United States nowadays. A third reason to get vaccination is because a vaccine-preventable disease is very expensive. I know everyone in this room enjoys money and wants to spend their money on whatever it is they would like to spend it on. If you contract the influenza, for example, according to the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, it can last up to 15 days with typically 5 to 6 days off work. You can lower your chances of not having to miss work and lose money not only from taking sick days, doctor's appointments, prescribed medications, if you would get the flu vaccine every year. The same concept goes for other diseases that can be prevented with vaccines, some which can be fatal. So today we've talked about the misconceptions about vaccines, where they've come from, how they work in your body, and also why we should vaccinate. So please educate yourself. If you have questions, ask your physician on vaccines. They will be happy to educate you, but you're not only protecting yourself, your children, you're protecting your grandchildren and their grandchildren. Thank you.